Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. What is the opposite of stoicism? What is the opposite of reacting logically? Well, it's reacting with emotion and going crazy and trying to prove your point by acting a fool. This guy, a gentleman that is a little bit more on the conservative side, and put out a tweet the other day. Turns out it may have been the greatest troll of all time, and it was accidental. It was accidental. He got Adidas, a sports company, to respond to his tweet, and Adidas, a sports company, puts out a tweet that has, 24 sets of bobs on it, unblurred, unfiltered. They just posted it on Twitter. Now, the irony is, I don't think really these are bobs that you'd want to see because, heaven forbid, they have to be representative of all the stunning and brave, heavyset women. But this is such a great story, and it's so funny. And again, it just shows you where we are in society, and I find it hilarious. So we'll jump right into it. Before we get started here, I do want to mention, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com and Rumble if you want to see this stuff unedited. I'm not going to do anything where I have to edit it in this one, but if you want to see the dating profiles of the day, they're over there. And here's a great example, okay? And some of you have seen this, some of you haven't. Peter Lloyd had a great response to a woman, and I'll just play it. I have to break it up probably because otherwise they'll ding me for it. But it's, again, when you react with emotion and over the top and everything, you're going to lose. And you'll see it in the Twitter story here. But I want to play this so you guys can see it.
Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned. But it always goes back to that old adage: sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
No, that's just obnoxious.
Peter Lloyd,
sorry, you have to give me a chance to respond to that. That is ridiculous. No, hang on, I won't do your show again.
I love that clip. I absolutely love that clip because he points it out and he shows that it's true. There's always something to offend somebody. Well, this guy that did this article offended people. And I want to get to it, but I want you guys to see these clips coming into it because this is the woke, this is the crazy, this is when people make fun of me for making fun of this stuff. There's a point in time where you say, they're just throwing buzzwords out. Like they're not making sense anymore. None of this makes sense. And this will be the last clip I play before jumping to the main story here. This is, I think, in the English Parliament, Canadian Parliament, some Parliament, Australian, I don't know. Because I listen to it and I start laughing, so I don't pay attention to the accents. I want you to hear all the buzzwords they throw in here to convince people not to eat meat. In other words, become a vegan or a vegetarian. And I want you to just count on both hands how many buzzwords they throw in here to make it sound like you're evil for not falling in line with the way that they want you to think.
I believe we should move beyond all meat. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism. These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny.
Let me just pause it here for a second. So if you eat meat, apparently you are not okay with different races. I don't know how that all comes together. And if it comes with a dose of misogyny for eating a cow that didn't choose you to eat it. I'm pretty sure if you ask a deer, an antelope, I don't know, many of the wild animals that are out there, they didn't ask the lion to eat them. They didn't ask anybody to eat them. It is called the circle of life. But again, I just want you to hear the buzzword parade. And this, when somebody says, what does woke mean? This is what woke is. This is a perfect encapsulation of what being woke is.
Popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes.
I got to what? When was last time you saw pictures of sexy chicken and cows and pigs and fish. And I mean that seriously. When have you ever seen depictions of these animals that you eat in attractive ways? What?
Who all just want to have fun. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat, and eating animals is its protection racket. White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy, and the baiting of liberal men as so-called soy boys are all part of the neo-Nazi.
Now let me just say this, okay? This guy right here on the left side of the screen, he looks like one of the kind of soy boy woke guys, right? He's got the multicolor frames. He's got the neck beard going on. Even he can't stop from laughing at this nonsense. How do you take these people seriously? Like, I get when you say, oh, politics, but when this is one side, I don't care how much you hate the other side. Is this really the side of history you want to go down on? I don't even know. Maybe this is a conservative. Like, I don't know. Doesn't sound like a conservative, but maybe it is. I don't want to be on that side of the argument. I mean, they're laughing at her.
Messaging. To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary. Meat eaters like anti-abortionists have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equals. I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
Okay. How do you take people like this seriously? I'm going to probably have to blur some of the, or blurb out some of those words from Big Mommy YouTube. But you guys get the idea that somehow she tied in everything. Getting, child deletion, getting rid of kids, white, misogyny, anti-this, anti-that. It's all in there. It's just word soup. It's word salad of all the reasons why you need to agree with this person, or if you don't, you're a horrible person. Well, when that's society, I'm sorry, you're going to get laughed at and it's all falling apart. Well, this guy on Twitter, he turns out, he just said, hey, you know what, ladies, maybe have a little bit more respect for yourselves. And he's a pastor. He's a religious person. But a guy on Twitter said women shouldn't post photos in bikinis, and Adidas replied with a photo of naked bobs, like 24 naked bobs. And his tweet said this, there's no reason whatsoever for you to post pictures of yourself in low-cut shirts, bikinis, bras and underwear, or anything similar ever. Not to show your weight loss journey, not to show your newborn baby, not to document your birth story, / your brother's. I think this is too far. I think it's kind of a silly post, but basically he's just saying, look, stop trying to find so many ways just as an excuses to show yourself off. And they say in our over-sexualized culture where spicy photos is commonplace, it's rare to hear someone encouraging women to think twice about what they're wearing before they post a photo on social media. A Christian pastor dared to go against the current and dared to go against the current and encourage women to quit sharing half undressed photos of themselves. He was met with some criticism. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, where's the troll in this? Well, I'll get to it. But obviously it generated much criticism. People were lashing out at him saying, hey, misogyny and all this other stuff. And then this woman replies with, no man wants a woman who, and this was a guy saying this, no man wants a woman who, and she says, we don't care, says the young girl that has tattoos on her arms and probably has a body count in her 50s. But this is encapsulating what society's saying today, which guys are like, look, I don't want women with high body counts. I don't want women that have had 50 or 100 partners that maybe can't emotionally bond, that maybe have problems with settling down with one partner, that wants to compare a future boyfriend to all of the dozens of men that have had their ways with her. And they're like, shush, you quit talking. We don't care what men think. These are the same women that are angry when no man wants them when they become 30, 35. And eventually they turn into this woman because that's just the way it goes. So the part I want to get to, which is a great troll, though, is down here at the bottom of it. Let me see here where I can find it. Is the last paragraph. While there was some positive feedback, so he did get some positive feedback, and of course, again, everybody was a lot of people were disagreeing. Adidas, the sports brand, had the strangest reply of all. Weirdly enough, Adidas decided to jump in on the conversation, but they chose the strangest way to reply by posting a collage of multiple women exposing their chests. Nothing is blurred out, nothing is censored. It's simply a photo of Bob's. And I, with nothing on, and I can't show it. I mean, it would just be a picture of like a grid of 24, and all the ladies look to be stunning and brave and older and heavy, and you're not missing out on anything. Is my point. And their reply was, "Dear Brian, all bodies should be celebrated and supported without shame or exception." Adidas UK wrote. Now, they say, why we're still trying to figure out why this is the response that a major activewear brand chose. Perhaps they thought the very thing this guy is condemning would be the perfect thing to throw in his face. So here's a guy saying, hey, you know what? Maybe be more conservative. Maybe don't put yourselves out there. Maybe make better decisions when it comes to social media. And everybody was like, oh, yeah? Well, check this out. And not only did Adidas post this photo, but women started sending him photos of them without clothing. It is reverse psychology. It's literally, this is the new way, guys. This is the way. Apparently, they say, Brian has been receiving spicy photos from women as a response to his tweet. He took a moment to write another thread to point out the hypocrisy of this choice. He said, if a man were to send you unsolicited spicy pictures or explicit videos of himself, you would rightly judge him as not a very good person. But you can do it to me? How does the ethical math on that work out? Maybe your ethics aren't so ethical after all, he wrote. And he's got a point. He's got a point. They say, here's the thing. You can't even obey your own man-made laws, even with respect to your own standards of right and wrong. You fall short, he continued in the next tweet. He makes a good point. If the women's also me movement was all about consent, and if these very women find it offensive when a guy sends them unsolicited pictures, why do they think it's okay to do the same thing to a random guy on the internet? Also, do these women really think it's an own to send a random dude photos of themselves without clothing? Whether or not you agree with Brian's original message about how women should dress, he sure does highlight something we have all noticed. Many modern feminists contradict themselves when it comes to showing themselves with no clothing. And I think this is a perfect example of where we are today. First of all, so he's a pastor, so obviously he wasn't doing this as a troll, but he ended up not only trolling a sports company unintentionally and trolling a bunch of women to send him pictures he didn't ask for, but he also made them show their own hypocrisy when they say, we don't want men to do this, but also we're going to do it to prove a point. There's a double standard there. And this became a pretty big story, and it's pretty funny, showing just how hypocritical they are on this kind of content. And I guess if you want to get unsolicited pictures, just go out there and say that you don't want to get unsolicited pictures, and these dummies will send you photos. I just absolutely love it. And while it was unintentional, it still turns out to be the greatest troll, at least, of 2022 when it comes to social media and everything else. And I think that's great. Guys, if you want to see the unedited stuff, follow me over on betterbachelor.locals.com and on Rumble. That's where I'm going to be doing the dating profiles of the day now because YouTube is angry at me for having fun. So join me over there. And if you're not, then I don't know what to tell you.